Hey guys, Manny with 18 Plumbing. We've got a good one for you today. We've had a lot of customers calling about water heaters. So today we're going to be going over water heaters and different options. Stay tuned. All right, guys, here we go. So we got the water heater line. Before anybody jumps into my comments about our brand that we carry, which is GE, which is made by Hire, I want to let you know that we've installed hundreds of these heaters and have literally no issues with them. We've had a lot of customers call about water heaters. Water heaters obviously gives you your hot water in your home, but most people don't know about the maintenance. They don't know about what it goes into with the maintenance and also installations. So if you guys take a look over here, we have a 40-gallon short. This is our GE Real Max series. It's our choice water heater that's going to come with an 8-year warranty from the manufacturer, and then we give a 1 year on the actual install of the heater. Different parts of this heater is obviously you have your relief valve here, which I pulled one out of an old heater here, so you can kind of see what it looks like. All right, this is called a T&P valve. So essentially this is immersed inside the heater, and at about 150 psi or 210 degrees, this will activate and it'll relieve pressure or relieve temperature. All right, so that's basically a safety valve so that your water heater doesn't turn into a missile. All right, at the bottom here, you have your drain port. This is where you're going to drain the heater down. You're going to service the water heater, right? Then you have your gas valve. Your gas valve is where your gas line is hooked up to. Different settings on it. This one here is going to blink depending on the status and what the actual heater is doing, whether it's in normal operation, whether there's an error or whatever. If you look at the top, there's a status light code that'll tell you basically what's going on with the heater, so that when you happen to have an issue and you happen to call the plumber and say, hey, it's giving me this, the code says it's a gas valve issue or it's a thermocouple issue or whatever it may be. Some of the things that a lot of people don't realize is with water heaters is that there's maintenance involved. It's not a set it and forget it. Okay. A lot of people think, well, it's making hot water, so it should be fine. But those are the same people that wonder why the water heaters only last 5-6 years, where you can get more time out of it with proper maintenance. The life expectancy of a water heater is anywhere from 8 to 10 years, and that's with proper maintenance. Some of the things that you're going to want to do on a heater is you're going to want to check your relief valve, right? You're going to want to make sure she's operating. You also want to check the clearance on the relief valve to make sure that you can get in here and test it. With this little lever, you just pull it and it'll relieve the pressure. You want to make sure that that's working. You also want to check your anode rod. Now, your anode rod, for you that don't know, okay, basically, this is what it will look like, except this one is for if you're actually replacing it. Sometimes you have height issues because the ones that come from the manufacturer is a solid magnesium tube. If you have a ceiling height issue, you won't be able to get it in there without bending it. So this is called the sausage link, or I call the sausage link, and it makes it a lot easier to get it in. This is basically its job is to attract all the bacteria and nastiness that's in the water, is set to attack this before it starts to attack the steel jacket on the inside of the heater and cause leaks. These are very important. This is something else that you want to check. Further in this video, we're going to get into one of our higher premium heaters that actually monitors the life of this magnesium tube, and it will tell you when there's something wrong with it, okay? This is in all water heaters. You're going to have this. It's very, very important. Once this goes and it's done and there's nothing left to it, the germs and whatnot and bacteria have no choice but to attack the steel jacket. And once it attacks the steel jacket, that's when you can get a rupture, you get a leak, and then you have issues. So these are very important. I do not recommend that as a homeowner you try replacing these on your own. I definitely suggest calling a licensed professional to do it, because there are steps that need to be taken before this is done. And if you do not take those steps, you're going to flood out your house. Moving down the line here, you have our other Smart Series electric water heater. This water heater comes with a 10-year limited warranty out of the box from the manufacturer, okay? And then 18 backs that with depending on what levels you choose, because all our customers get 5 options. A lot of people think, oh, it's just a heater. No, there are other options that you can go with that will protect your home. Here's your electric water heater. This water heater here has Wi-Fi capability. So you can actually control the water heater from your phone. So say you're going on, you're going away for a week or two, and you don't want this heater to be trying to heat water that nobody's going to use. Well, you're able to put it on a vacation mode where it basically won't run, or it'll keep it at a very low temperature. And then before you get home, you go onto your app, you turn the vacation mode off so that by the time you get home, the water's back up to temperature. Electric water heaters are heated by what is called elements. Now, here is an example of an element. You've got 2 Phillips head screws here. Your 2 wires attach to either side, and this gets hot and it heats up your water. This is a 4500 watt, which is pretty standard. It's 240 volt, 440 watts. Basically, your elements, this is what's going to heat your water. Each water heater is going to have 2. You're going to have your primary, which is at the bottom, okay, or your slave element. That's the one that always turns on. Then you have the top one. Now, when the water heater is full of 40 gallons of water and the water is cold, this element turns on and your top one is going to turn on. That's to hurry up the process and get the water heated. Now, when it's maintaining, your bottom element or your slave element is going to be the one that's going to kick on. They normally do not work together unless the whole tank needs to be heated up and for you to get hot water. All right. Now, the way that all water heaters work in general is you have something called the dip tube. So we know that we have hot on the left, cold on the right, correct? All right. Well, here is what you're going to see if you pull this dielectric nipple out. And basically what this does is it's going to sit down inside the tank. And as the cold water comes in through the top, it's going to push that water to the bottom. And it's basically a cycle. The cold water comes in into the bottom, gets heated up, and then it pushes out hot water. That's basically how that works. So when a lot of people say, or they call and say to me, Manny, my water is not staying hot. It's lukewarm. Well, that could be a couple different things. That could be you've only got one element working. It's taking forever, and that one element is not enough to heat all that water. Or it could also be the dip tube has broken off inside. So if you walk up to the water heater and you hear something clanging around in there, it could be that the dip tube fell down inside and it's banging up against the wall. So now essentially the water that rises up, right, is getting heated. Now, if this dip tube happens to break here, what are you doing? Well, now you're mixing cold water with hot water, and that's why the water is lukewarm or it's not hot at all. That's a lot of times what I see. And this also goes into the maintenance as well. A lot of times you should be pulling these out to check them. Now, moving on up to our next heater here. This is our most premium heater. This thing is awesome. Customers absolutely love them. And there's a reason why. First off, just like this one, it's Wi-Fi compatible. So everything can be monitored from your phone. Turn the temperature up, turn the temperature down, put it on vacation mode. It also has a portion on there in the back side on the anode rod. There's a wire that's attached to that anode rod. When that anode rod goes bad, it's going to tell you on your phone. So then at that point, you know, great, I got to call the plumber because there's something up with my anode rod and I need to get it fixed. Because if I don't, I could possibly have a flood in the house if the outer tank ruptures. What this heater also comes with, if I remove this nice little cover here, pop this puppy over here, okay, what this heater also comes with is a built-in mixing valve. A lot of people in their homes, they have the shower handles that are the 3 handles, whether they be the Centrals or the Royals or whatever, but they're 3 handles. Those 3-handle shower valves do not have anti-scald. If somebody flushes a toilet, the water can come out really, really hot. If you have small kids, they can get scalded, they can get burned. This will basically help to stop that, because it will not let the water that comes out on the hot side, it will not let it get above a certain temperature. Code states you really got to have two ways to be able to temper the water. One way to be able to temper the water is through your element, where you can go in and put the setting down to 115, 110, 120. The other way to temper the water is through a mixing valve. This one here, you can actually go up to 12 years on it. So you can get a 12-year warranty, and then you get a 2-year labor from A-Team on the install of the heater itself. Those are basically the three main water heaters that we install. There are other types of water heaters. You have your natural gas, which this one is here. You also have your propane fired. You have your oil fired. We do them all, but these are the majority of the time. This is what we're installing for our customers. On the lower end heaters, where customers go with the lower package, you're going to see the drain here is plastic. They could be a pain to get the water to come out. On the second and third, you can notice at the bottom that the drains are brass, so you don't have to worry about those breaking on you. All right. As far as the maintenance goes on the heaters, like I said before, you want to check your relief valve, you want to check your anode rod, you want to check your dip tube. But the other thing that you really, really want to make sure that you do is you want to make sure that you flush the water heater. And what I mean by that, a lot of people say, well, I'll just hook up a hose and just let the water come out. Yeah, I mean that could work. But if the sediment that's in there clogs up that drain, there's no water that's going to come out. So what we do as plumbers is we have transfer pumps. We use the Liberty pumps, and we connect them, hook up a hose to the exit side, run the hose out. And then what I like to do is just let that pump everything out. We drain the water heater all the way down. We fill it up. We drain it again, fill it up, and drain it again. And then what you do, which is called, I like to call a reverse flush, is you go upstairs and you have somebody turn on the hot side. And when you do that, a lot of the water that's stuck in here, obviously it's airlocked. As you open that up, the hot water will come down, spray the walls of the heater. So any sediment that's stuck to the sides will come off. And then you continue to drain it. With water heaters, there's certain electric water heaters, that is, there's certain ways you have to go about the install. All right. There's certain things that have to be done, or you will ruin the water heater before it even starts making hot water. And that's basically, you have to make sure that there's no air inside the tank. All right. Now, a lot of times we go to customers' houses and we talk to customers and we say, hey, listen, I've got 5 different options for you. Customer says, well, it's just a water heater. I mean, what options can you possibly have on a water heater? Oh, there's several. Our first one is an automatic shutoff valve. This valve is made by Taco, and this valve gets installed onto the cold side of the water heater. And it's got this little box that gets mounted on the wall. This goes on the inlet side, on the cold side. And what happens is it looks almost like a hockey puck, a wire with like a hockey puck that goes to the bottom, and it sits on the floor or inside a pan, which is another option with the water heaters. Sits inside the pan. As soon as that sensor senses any type of water, it automatically shuts the water off to the water heater. I cannot tell you how many customers have called at 2 o'clock in the morning saying, my water heater's leaking. I can't stop the water. I don't know where my main shutoff valve is. Can you get somebody here right away? By the time we get there, I can't even tell you how many gallons of water they have on the floor. All right. So basically, we end up calling one of our partner companies that has to come out and take all that water out, dry it all out, and make sure that mold does not begin to grow. All right. So the leak breaker by Taco is awesome. Been using it for years, never had any issues with it. The one thing I do love about it is the fact that once it senses the water and it shuts the water off, you can actually reset it so that it will reopen up. So it can be reused. Now, there is another type of shutoff, which is called the WAGS valve. Now, the WAGS valve, it's going to get installed on the cold side of the heater, okay? And what will happen is, same thing. It'll shut the water off. So it shuts off the water and it shuts off the gas, which is great. It's awesome. But the problem is there's no resetting it. So once this thing senses water and shuts off, you literally have to replace it. Okay, so that's the downfall to this one. But some customers don't want to spend the extra money on the Taco leak breaker, so they go with the wags, which, listen, it'll do the same thing. It'll stop the water. It's just you're going to have to install another one after it's all set, right? Now, there's also a third one that's very, very basic. This is called the Watchdog. And these literally just sit on the floor. It's got a long life battery in it, just sits on the floor. As soon as it senses water, it's going to set off an alarm. Only problem with that is that if you're not home, it's not shutting off the water. So you're not going to know to shut the water off until you get home and there's probably already however many gallons of water on the floor. But if you're home, it'll definitely let you know. Some of the other options that you have with water heaters on the installs, like our basic ones, don't come with this. You have an expansion tank. This is basically for thermal expansion. Hot water, obviously, as we all know, expands. So this basically, what you do is when you install this, you pump this up to match the pressure in the house. And any type of thermal expansion will go into your tank and then you're good. All right. So these are great to have as well. Another option that we give customers are dielectric unions. I've been installing these for years now. They're awesome. They make replacing of the heater very easy. If something ever happens with the heater and the heater begins to leak, all you're really doing is just unscrewing this, and you could literally undo the gas or the electric, slide the heater out, your bottom assembly on the new heater, slide it in, put it back together, and you're good to go. You don't have to solder anything, nothing, because all your union is already there. The other great thing about your dielectric is I see a lot of companies, what they do is when they install heaters, they'll use a female adapter, which is copper, and they'll put it onto here, which nothing wrong with it, not against code. It'll work just fine. But in some homes, after a while, you will start to get galvanic action. So you have two different metals that are meeting together and you can start to get corrosion in there. All right. And you can get a leak. This dielectric is going to stop that. And the way that it stops it is there's a rubber gasket or a plastic gasket even inside of here that now this is a dielectric, this is dielectric. And although this here being brass, you're not going to have two different metals meeting together, which can create a reaction, which creates corrosion, and then you can have leaks. So that's what's great about these. Some of the other types of heaters that are out there from GE, these are your point of use heaters. Okay, so your point of use heaters are, you decide to put a sink out in your bar area. You have an outside kitchen. You want to put a sink out there. You can actually put these underneath the sink, tie in the cold water to it, heats up the water, and you have hot water and you're good to go. Same thing, you can go up and down. It works similar to like a tankless heater where it flash heats the water, and that's basically how this works. So this is just another type of heater. If you decide to put a sink somewhere, you don't have to run, say if you have your water heater is 40 feet away, or if it's inside and you're wanting something outside for like an outside kitchen, you don't have to run, bother running water lines underground or whatever else. You could just put one of these, just hook up your cold. Well, obviously, you'll have to have a cold water line out there, but you're not going to have to run two separate lines. So it's just an easier way to do it. And that's basically it, guys. The most important thing I can tell you is maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. Always maintenance. Water heaters, people don't know what it's like to not have them until they don't have them. And when it goes, sometimes it's pretty bad. I've seen them where the water heater literally splits in the back, and just pops open, and there's tons of water on the floor. You're calling your insurance company, you're calling this one, you're calling that one. It's a nightmare. The best thing to do is have a professional come through once a year, flush the heater, check all your major components, make sure that that heater is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Just to let everybody know, we're going to be doing tech tips of the week every week, where we're going to be talking about different things: toilets, water heaters, faucets, outside faucets, just normal things that people come in contact with every day that they don't know enough about to be able to maintenance or take care of or repair. And that's what we're here for. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.